Hello, everyone. Yesterday we heard a lot about the culture of objects and the cool features that Frodo's blade has. But since we're the off-topic guys, we're just going to talk about knives and just knives. So yeah, that's us at very young age. After a lot of begging, my mom finally gave me a Swiss Army knife at the age of 5, and we just loved knives ever since. And of course the question is why young boys love knives.
Well, I think people or boys really love knives because they make 2 out of 1. You can destroy stuff, you can make things into 2. And this is really interesting because, little boys don't want to play with super glue or stuff. They want to get a knife because you can, destroy stuff. So this is the power, and this is why this is fascinating.
Yeah, there's no 2 ways about it. Knives are the most simple and effective tool. They've been with mankind since the invention of front teeth. Knives are also deadly weapons. We're not only joking here. So humanity has developed strong rules around powerful tools like that, and to just harness this technology.
Yesterday, Anne talked about the tricky business of giving a gift, and I think this really applies to knives, because in many cultures, if you give a knife to a person, this is considered to be bad luck as a gift, unless you receive something in return. So there's a token that people give back if you give a knife that balances out the aggressive nature of a knife.
Yeah, and nothing draws a clearer line between 2 people than a knife. So actually the etiquette to hand over a knife is to turn it around and give it handle first to the other person. That puts the knife handler who is in power in this situation, in a weaker position. So that's a symbol of trust. And that's how you establish handing over a knife.
And if you talk about the practical rules or the technical rules of knives, I think the first one obviously is please do use a sharp one, because if you use a sharp one, you have to lose less force and you're less likely to hurt yourself. So that's the big one. Either use a stone or a steel, depending on what you have, really.
And cut away from your body, always. Always cut away from your body, unless you spend a lot of money on those mesh gloves and this apron, and you're a professional.
All right, this is my pride. This is a 50s butcher slicing machine that I own, and my whole family has a kind of mythology around these bizarre called slicing machines. So when I grew up, I always looked at those, and my father saw 3 of them on a flea market in Rotterdam and handed each kid that he had one of those machines. And the reason why it made into this deck is it shows the rule of pressure and friction if you cut. So do both, don't just do this. And obviously, humanity depends on tools, we depend on knives, so get a quality one to start with. So one characteristic of a quality knife is make sure that if you buy it, that the steel goes through the whole handle. That's one thing.
Yeah, and treat them well. No water, and especially no dishwashers. Yesterday I heard a story of somebody who brought himself a knife back from Japan, a very nice knife, and he nicked it totally in the dishwasher, so that's something you really shouldn't do. Another thing that is harmful to knives is acids from fruits. So if you cut fruits with a knife, make sure you wipe the blade afterwards. And a good way to protect the blade is to coat it with a little bit of oil. Obviously these knives were misused, and it basically comes down to this rule. Knife must be harder than object, object must be softer than cutting board, and cutting board must be softer than knife. These knives were stolen by my father from my mom's kitchen, and he used it to remove insulation from cables, so that's obviously against the rule.
And then if you don't have a grindstone, and if you come someplace and you want to sharpen your knife, you can use the bottom of a mug that doesn't have the glaze on it, because it has an abrasive structure, and you can just use that one to improvise and sharpen your knife, and you'll be happy.
Well, over time, a lot of cultural knowledge gets lost. In my family, in the French part of my family, some men don't get served cutlery other than a fork, because they have had knives in their pockets since ever, and this is what they're going to use. So never give them this. It's just not good.
And when I used to travel around, I was always frustrated because from my home I was used to have good knives, and I arrive at friends' places or flat shares and they never have a good knife. So this really bugged me. So this is my travel kit, really. Not going to Nijiva because I didn't check in luggage, but this is what you take with you: a quality knife, a cutting board that is softer than the knife, and something to wrap it up so it doesn't look so aggressive. And yeah, maybe that's an idea.
Yeah, thank you for your attention, and enjoy the next speech. And think of us during lunch break.
Take care. Bye.